If you can go through that first, and then there might be some more questions along the way.
Okay. All right. So basically, what we've got here is every time a user logs in, the system recognises who they are, and you come to this home page, which is where I'm logged in as myself, for instance. And in here, it gives me a snapshot of any of the activities in. Sorry, I'm just trying to clear something. Any of the activities in the database that are assigned to me. It tells me this area here with the stoplight traffic lights. It's telling me. Let me go to a different database. Let's go to this one. Up the top here are the different databases that I have, or different business units that are using it. So I'll go to this one, which is a fairly recent one. So it's got a bit more data in it. So here, for instance, I actually have a number of items that I'm accountable for, and it's telling me that I've got none that I haven't started. I've actually got one that's on track. I've got 4 activities that are at risk. I haven't got any that are late, and I haven't got any that I've completed. So very quickly I can see how much work activity I've got in here. These particular items here are the detail that make these up. So it tells me underneath that what they all are. So very quickly I can see how complete I am on any of these items at a glance. So the way I would actually go into this, you asked the question about this particular item here.
Yes.
That's actually not an objective. It's really, I said to treat it almost like a header. It's actually the vision for the actual business unit. And it's also, when you log into this system, that's what you click on when you're in the single sign-on, and it launches you onto this page. But apart from that, it doesn't have anything else within the system. And it's also a home button. When you press on that, when you're anywhere else in the system, it takes you back to this page.
I see. Okay.
So most of the information and most of the users will go into, they use the objectives and they use the dashboard icons. The reporting, this is meant to be an online system, and the reporting is just if you need to produce a report at a particular point in time and send it to anybody, you'd go through the reporting area. Try to encourage people, though, to use the dashboards and this part of the database when you're in any particular meeting to update where you are, not the report. So it's really more just for compliance. These two here are where you should be spending most of your time.
Okay.
Up here, talked about announcements. Announcements was a function I built mainly like a notice board. So it's where I might want to send some communication to anybody when they log in. So it could be, for instance, something like the planning cycle is going to start for 2007 on the 1st of April. We'll be holding some workshops with your team. Stay tuned, something like that.
Okay. Susie, is it okay to ask questions along the way?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. With these announcements, if you add new, does that mean this is a common interface for all the users for a particular database?
A common...
Yeah. For example, if you add new announcement, does that mean if I am another user going to the same database, I will see your announcement there on my...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be visible to anybody who's in the system.
Will this be per database or across databases?
These other databases up here are quite new. In the past, we only actually had one.
Okay.
But in the different databases, I would expect that you should have the ability to, if it's within the one client, to actually have some announcements that are consistent across all of them.
Okay.
But then when you're in one of them, like New Zealand, for instance, that there could be announcements that are only relevant to New Zealand as well.
Okay.
So you want global, and then you want ones that are just for that particular database.
Okay.
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 So if I go into the objectives, this is where most of the information in the database is stored, where all the information is stored, and it's where your guys are in there most of the time looking at the system. So when you actually do your strategic plan at the beginning of a financial year, this is it all gets loaded into a form, and then this is the view of how your plan's actually being presented. So given the hierarchy where we start with objectives, then we have priorities, and we have milestone actions. And then alongside of those, we have performance measures, so that tracks how we're going against it. So in here, all the things that are in orange are actually strategic objectives. So if we looked at objective A, for instance, that's the objective. And underneath objective A, there's 5 priorities. So objective A is what you set. So this is where we want to be within the next 3 years, for instance. Then the priorities are the things that we have to achieve in 12 months. So they basically relate to whatever financial year we're working in. And then underneath those, so if you click on strategic objectives, it will actually give you what the strategic objective is, which business area or unit is accountable for that, and it actually tells you in here what level in the hierarchy it is. So for this one, you can see as a strategic objective is actually assigned to the branch management team. This icon here, because we had a number of different business units, we use this coloured tile to differentiate, because in some of them you'll see that there's multiple tiles. That means that there's more than one business unit that contributes to this objective, even though the leadership team is accountable for it. And this objective is actually assigned to a champion, if you like, or one of the leadership team who is going to oversee making sure that that objective is met.
Okay.
And then note here we've got the status on how that particular objective is actually performing. We're to blow out the strategic priorities. So underneath priority A1, what you see in here is the milestone actions that have to be delivered to achieve that priority. And then each of the 5 priorities in objective A all feed up to that one objective. Make sense?
Yeah. The priority, this is A1, right? And then you can put sub-priorities under each priority, is it?
No, you put milestones under each priority.
That's a milestone, okay.
Yeah, so you have, if you look at it here, the hierarchy is you start with an objective. Then the next level are the priorities. So again, this is a 3-year view. So this is where we want to be in 3 years. So it's like a strategic directional statement, if you like. Then these priorities are the next level of granularity. So if we want to be here in 3 years, what are the things that are really important to us in the next 12 months? And to get to achieve those 12-month priorities, what are the specific actions we have to take to get us to achieve that?
Okay.
Okay, and these milestone actions, they're called milestone actions because this isn't a project management tool. So we don't want every single step in there, but this is really the summary of a number of actions that you might have to take, for instance. But if you wanted to, you could put all of the actions in here, but then it gets a lot too much detail. And so what you're seeing in here, the client actually has a paper-based copy of this plan, and we're actually replicating the way they develop their plan. And then they actually submit that to their division. So the division don't want to see all of the detail underneath it. They just want to see what are the big things that they're going to be working on in service of what priorities.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So in this particular so in here, this is a strategic priority. Each of these milestones have been assigned to a business unit. So if you look at this one, the objective is at the highest level, it's the branch management team. But these particular milestones have all been assigned to a different business unit, which is yellow, and they're the operational services business team. Robert Duval, for instance, is the leader of operational services, so he's accountable for each of those milestones, and in this particular instance, he's also accountable for that strategic priority. Okay?
Okay.
And then this over here is telling us how is he going against that. So against his priority is actually late because one of these milestones is late. This is something I need to change. This is automatically calculated by the system, but we can actually override that and turn that to a different rating if we want to, and in this case I would. I can explain that a bit later. But in here it's telling me against everything, how's it going. So this one here is late. It was actually due on the 31st of August. Is only 68% complete, and we're now in October, so obviously he's late on that one. On this one here, It was due on the 31st of July, and he's already completed that one, so that's why that one's blue. On this one here, it's actually due on the 31st of January. It's actually here at risk because he's got no percentage complete.
Okay.
So by now, if you do a straight linear calculation, you would have expected Rob would have started this, because if you look at this, you can't tell off here, but his start date was probably the 1st of July. Now, I can see that. I'll go into it in a minute and show you how I can see that. Up here, each of these things are searchable fields or filters. So, for instance, in here, the BMT is the highest level. That's the leadership team for this latents group. These here are all of the businesses that sit that underneath that. So they've got a roads division, a national rail, operational services, finance and commercial, strategic development, civil and building. There's a general manager as a unit on their own. New Zealand, there's a pre-contracts group. There's an engineering and technical services group. So they're all the business units that reported into the BMT.
Okay.
And different items can be assigned to any one of those business areas. Okay?
Okay.
Each one of these are also filters. So I could go onto here, for instance, click on the drop-down button, and it will tell me what do I want to look at. Do I just want to look at milestone actions, and I just get all of this just for milestones? Get performance measures, just performance measures. So whatever thing I'm clicking on, I will only get the results of those presented in the same format, but just at that level. Over here, assigned to, again, this is just everything in the system. I might say that's great, but I just want to look at everything that's assigned to Brett Smythe or Glenn Mace or Gordon Bohr, etc., etc. So if I just show you one of those, if I was to click on it, I now get
Susie? Susie?
Anything.